Hey there, it's Rachel Mullins, the host of Hashtag No Filter Fridays on Public House Media.
This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach, here to deliver a simple message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to empower and inspire you to live out your wildest dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. Soul sisters, devoted listeners, friends, new friends, followers of followers, I am so excited that you are here. I literally just want to thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this podcast. Your life matters, my friends. It really, truly does. You are incredible. You are worth so many incredible things in this life. I love you so dearly, and I want you to know how special you are. I appreciate every single one of you for following me on Instagram and Facebook and listening to this podcast every single Tuesday, leaving ratings and reviews, sending me DMs, and sending me personal messages where you screenshot the episode and tell me what it means to you. I absolutely love it. It fills my cup up every single Tuesday that it's going on, and I just want to say thank you. If you are new to this tribe of Your Life Matters podcast, this tribe of incredible freaking people, we're here to just help people. Share this episode with somebody, share it with other people that just need it. Go back and listen to previous episodes because it really is meant to give you tangible things that you can take away to truly impact your life and empower you in such a massive way. So guys, unfortunately, but fortunately, this podcast episode is going to be just a little different. I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you guys, and we had just come up on Bianca's 1 month of being here on this beautiful earth, and this beautiful little girl has lit our souls on fire, and I just wanted to change it a little bit. Instead of doing a little bit of motivation, inspiration, and a quick tip, I really wanted to share my birth story with you guys. And the reason why is so many of you guys have given me feedback of wanting to hear it, wanting me to share it with you guys, wanting me to talk about it. And I just wanted to find the right time, the right platform, the right opportunity to really share such a special moment in our life. And I really wanted to share it with you guys in a way that kind of inspires you and motivates you, and I hope that you get that from that, but really truly just tell you about what happened. So little Miss Bianca Marie Scales made her arrival on 4/24/2019 at 7:17. And I will never forget the 18 and a half hours of labor that I went through. But truly, I want to preface all of this with your body as women. I'm speaking to my ladies right now. Your body as a woman is the most incredible freaking thing in the world. I need you to hear me on this. You not only created a human, molded them, you helped build their fingers, their toes, you nourished them, you gave them brain development, you helped their kidneys to produce the urine it needs, you helped the liver to develop. You did all of these incredible things while she or he was in your womb. You helped cultivate, this tiny human. And then when it comes to that 10-month mark, or 40 weeks, or for me, it was 41 weeks, I just need to say to you, you are incredible. Everybody's pregnancy is very different. Now, I have one of my really good friends who came out here, and I will share that along with the story, but she came out here after Bianca was born. So she spent the first week that she was here, and she happened to be pregnant. And I think at that time she was 28 weeks. So everybody's pregnancy is different. And we got to share journeys of pregnancies. Different women on Instagram that have shared with me have shared their pregnancy journeys. My pregnancy journey was, I honestly can say amazing. Other than when you guys saw me go into preterm labor back in December, my pregnancy was amazing with her. She was a very healthy, happy baby. Different things could have gone very differently, but she is healthy, she is happy, she is here, and we are so blessed that she is. And I want to empower you to know that every pregnancy is different. Every birth is different. Every birth story is different. Every woman's take on how their birth story went is different. And I'm going to preface that. But I need you to know that for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, women have given birth naturally. I need you to know, before there was anything called medicine, women were giving birth naturally. And women would come around other women and support other women in times that somebody was giving birth to empower and inspire them. Unfortunately for me, the wonderful women in my life, all except a very few handful, was very, very negative. They passed their birth story on to me on what it should be, what it shouldn't be. And I remember being told, Mariah, you don't get a ribbon for having natural childbirth. You're right. I didn't get a ribbon. Why would you want to endure that kind of pain? It's not enduring pain. I want to know what my body is capable of. And call me competitive, because truly that's what it is. But I remember years before this, I had a conversation with somebody I love. She's like, I can consider her my Nana. She literally was like, I don't think you're going to be able to have a natural childbirth. I just don't see that happening for you. And literally, she was the very first person I called to tell her that I had a natural childbirth. And I say this to you to motivate and empower you. So if you are pregnant right now, or if you're thinking about becoming pregnant, or if you've thought about whether or not you want to have a natural childbirth or not, I'm here to tell you that please speak up freely about yourself and say, hey, I love that you want to share your story with me, but I really, truly believe in this, and I want to make this happen for me and my story. Please don't say that negative thing around me. When women are like, oh yeah, you can't do it, blah, 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 it knocks it down a ton and a huge notch. So I wanted to preface that with you. So I'm here to empower you. I'm here to inspire you. I'm here to remind you that women do this all the time, and that at the same time as a woman's giving birth, 3,000 other women across the world is also giving birth with you. That is something to empower you. So I know on April 24th, when I was giving birth to my sweet baby girl, there were 3,000 other women doing it right with me. And that was something so empowering, because women who empower women are freaking my jam. So going into the story, it was the 23rd, and we were going to our OB appointment, and dad is Alex's dad. I'm going to use that interchangeably. So Alex and I walk into the OB, we sit there, and I know that we have a couple of tests. So he's in the waiting room. I'm getting ultrasound, I'm getting an NST, and all these different things are happening. Well, with the NST, which is a non-stress test, what they do is they put a contraction monitor on you and a heart rate monitor on you and just monitor the baby. Now, I know my baby, if anything. And I just took a nap right before this appointment. So I'm thinking, okay, she's sleeping, whatever. So drink some ice water, get her riled up, do all of those things. We go see my incredible doctor. If you are in the Goodyear area and you need an OB, Dr. Jordan Oland is absolutely hands down remarkable. The midwife that I had was Britt Mitchie, and I also saw Tracy. Together, incredible team, would recommend them hands down forever. So we go see Dr. Olin, and me and Alex are kind of just like sitting there like, okay, what's the plan? What are we going to do? And what he said was not at all what I thought we were going to do. It was no discussion of stripping membranes. It was no discussion of, let's just see how your body does over the next week. I'll see you next Tuesday. It was immediately, hey, I really don't like how her heart rate looks, and I really don't like how much amniotic fluid is left in you, because normal is this, and this is what you have. And I think you need to go to the hospital. I'm going to call the hospital, and you guys are going to go tonight at 8:00. And instantly, fear, anxiety, panic go inside me. And I'm like, what? This is not the plan. No, this is not happening. I can't control this. What is going on? And one thing you have to learn about any type of birth is it's completely out of your control. And I think that's those moments leading up to it. I was so anxious. I was so worried. I was so fearful. I literally feared leaving the house because I didn't know when it was going to happen. And in that moment when he said, you're going to have a baby, it was like, oh my God, no, I'm not ready. But like the days previous, I was like, let's just do this. So it was really funny. So I go home, Alex goes and gets his stuff, and then we meet at my house, and Sarah, my best friend, who happens to be my mentor and coach, who also happens to have had both her kids at home naturally, is on their way. They're on their way to my house. Now we all just jump in the car, we head to the hospital, and we're getting started in this process. Now, this process is kind of scary and different to me because my one passion in this pregnancy, in this journey, was to not be induced. I really truly feel like our body naturally does things the way that it's supposed to, and instead of inflicting and putting medicine in us, I would rather have my body do it naturally. So one of the things that we decided to do was a natural cervical ripening, which is helps your cervix kind of thin out, and it's a medication called Cytotec. I was supposed to take it orally, lay down, and let's see what happens. Well, instantly, I get to the hospital, I get, one IV completely blown. Any of you who saw me after, it looked like I literally was beaten up in a war. I had a wonderful nurse, wonderful person, but she completely blew like 8 veins after hitting one vein, and immediately saw my face. And I wasn't mad. I didn't have a stank face or anything, but it was like, okay, I'm gonna grab somebody else, because I'm a very healthy person. I have very good veins, but she totally blew it. It was totally fine. I got over it. Not a big deal, but I had a bruise the size of bigger than a softball for about a week. So they come in, start my IV, and immediately they have me on fluids. They're having me turn onto my left side because it's better flow for the baby, and I'm having oxygen on my face. Now, mind you, I'm a healthy 27-year-old. I'm looking over at Dad. I'm looking over at Sarah, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is annoying. I can't even relax. I wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to rest and do all these things before, we have our baby. And I empower women who aren't medical to speak up, because this is where I'm grateful that I'm in the medical field. I'm grateful that I know what I'm talking about and how to stand up for myself. But this is where I feel like, as a medical professional, we fail our patients. So wonderful nurse walks in and tells me, hey, we're not doing the Cytotec because it's not safe. We're going to start on Pitocin. Well, me, Dad, Sarah, Dr. Olin, everybody knows the one thing Mariah doesn't want is Pitocin. So Sarah, as my doula, her job is to speak up for me when I feel like I can't speak up for myself. Well, me and her both are like, no, heck no. So we're on this page of like, no, this isn't happening, blah, 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 all this stuff. This doesn't make any sense. I was about to walk out of the hospital, honest to God, because I was like, this is unnecessary. She's fine. She's not like in any danger. And literally I had everybody get out of the room, because at the end of the day, it was me and Alex who needed to make that decision. So we talk about it. We try and figure it out. We have the nurse come back in, and I'm like, hey, break down what you're trying to tell me. Like, explain to me what you're worried about, what you're seeing. I am a pediatric nurse practitioner. I know how to take care of babies. I know how to read a monitor, all except this TOCO line. What do you see that I don't? this is where I humbled myself and said, hey, I'm not a medical professional. I'm a patient. Tell me what you see. So she tells me, hey, her heart rate's dipping down. She's not getting as much oxygen. We don't really know what could be going on. Like, we can't see inside. She could have her cord wrapped around her neck. She could not be doing well at all. She could be doing this. And if we give Cytotec, it lasts in your system for 4 hours and we can't reverse anything. Pitocin lasts in your system for all of 2 minutes. Boom, right there. She made sense. And then we were able to execute a plan. And me and Dad came to a decision of, okay, we have to do what's best and safe for our baby girl. So even though it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, we start on Pitocin. Now, for all of my wonderful, beautiful people out there, Pitocin needs to be called death by IV, rip my uterus out, my back is going to fall off. Like, the medicine is death. So any woman who has had Pitocin knows what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, oh, this is a wonderful no, Pitocin equals death. And when they told me, oh yeah, they can get up to like 16 on the IV monitor, I'm looking at 3 and I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, this is insane. And I just empower you to speak up in any type of medical situation. And I'm glad that I did. And I'm glad that I had the support of Alex and Sarah during that journey. So as hours go by, really, truly, I just think about how empowering that whole experience was. I had Sarah on multiple levels, like, as this was getting harder, like, think of running the hardest marathon of your life, and everything is just doing what it's supposed to bring your baby to life and bring him into this world. And everything in you is just like, you're just working and you're working. Your muscles are constantly contracting and pushing. And Sarah is literally on my back, holding me, saying incredible, inspirational things like, you can do this. You can do anything for a minute. You can do hard things. You can get through anything. You are strong. You have been through harder things in life, reminding me of the things that I've gone through, reminding me of the things that I've overcome. And she's pushing me and she's making me get into different positions. She's making me squat. She's making me get on the medicine ball. She's making me sway. At one point, I know that this woman literally had my entire body weight in her arms as I was squatting down. And I literally, to this day, I'm like, thank God you are buff. Thank God you are a physical therapist. And thank God you are my best friend. Because if it wasn't for you, Bianca would not have been able to come into the world the way that I envisioned it. And it went incredibly amazing. And then on the other side, as Sarah is pushing on my back and holding me and making sure that I'm like getting into the right position. And at one point, Bianca's head was definitely in my spine and she's pushing it and squeezing it and moving my pelvis and getting me into different positions. I could feel myself through every single contraction as it was getting further along, getting harder to breathe, harder to focus, harder to relax, harder to get into my meditation. Like, I did a lot of guided imagery and a lot of hypnobirthing and a lot of breathing and a lot of vision of what I wanted, what I was seeing, and seeing her come. But as things got harder, the most incredible thing in the world was having Alex tell me, breathe through it, and just breathe through it, and just constantly reminding me, like, breathe. And then it was hilarious because at the beginning, like, he's cracking jokes, he's making us laugh, he's like lightening up the moment. And then they got to a point where it was like, Mariah's not laughing anymore. Holy cow. So he was just that awesome, stable presence in the room, because I feel like as women, we get all riled up and we get so passionate, and there's a lot of emotions. Your hormones are going, your adrenaline is pumping, and Sarah is that like coach of like, hey, I'm gonna physically help you, but mentally Alex was that person to challenge me and get me back on track of like, hey, you need to refocus, you need to breathe, hey, you need to get into the mindset because our baby girl needs you. So it was such a dynamic duo. So I always encourage women who want to go in naturally, and me and Sarah both said this when we were going to our birthing class, your birthing partner, I love dads, I love husbands, I love boyfriends, I love significant others, should not be that person, because that person needs to enjoy the experience as well and be a secondary support. I really truly believe that you need to go to a midwife, have a doula, have somebody who's been there before to help you overcome that journey. So with that being said, the two of them were a huge part of why this beautiful girl is here the way that she is. And I will never forget, the medicine man came in, anesthesiologist, to let me know what my options were. And it was craziest thing in the world. I think about it all the time. I remember being in a light presence after a contraction, and then I just felt like, oh my God, overwhelmed with like, what is this bad energy that walked in? Because at this point, my eyes are not opening. I think I was probably 7 centimeters and my eyes are like, they're not coming open. And I remember this man, I looked up at him and I just was like, oh, you're the devil. Not really. He was a very sweet, kind, gentle human. But I remember feeling that like, oh, don't you even say what I know you're going to say. You just know an anesthesiologist when they walk in. And it was like, nope, I'm good. And I remember he stayed for an entire contraction. I don't know if it was like a taunt. I don't know if it was like him being like, are you sure? Like, you're on Pitocin. This is not natural. You don't have to do this. And I remember him saying this, like, you understand you're on Pitocin. This is not natural. And I had one of my really good girlfriends who also went through natural home birth, who told me before we went in, who said, hey, if you start getting on Pit, do not be a hero, get an epidural, because your body's doing things that are unnatural. But we sent the medicine man away. I definitely remember looking at Alex and Sarah and was like, why did you send the medicine man away? Like, bring him back. But it was one of those things that was so empowering and inspiring. So as things moved along, we got in the tub, we got out of the tub, we're doing different movements. You know, I'm literally putting all of my body weight on Alex, putting all my body weight on Sarah. And a lot of this is being told to me, but there's a lot of it that I remember. And literally, when it came down to pushing, I will never forget the amazing experience of just being able to be surrounded. I had 2 nurses who stayed 2 hours past their shift. One of them is so sweet and so amazing and follows me on Instagram. Her name's Maddie, and I thank her all the time. And then I had another nurse who I will never forget because I was her first delivery. And it was so empowering because afterwards she said, you have officially made me, I'm going to get teary-eyed, you officially made me a labor and delivery nurse. And I remember looking at her at one point in the delivery and when I was pushing, and I sat there and I said, I need you to help me because I don't understand. I want to get her out. And I said this to everybody, my best friends, everybody who asked. You can't take a woman who's never been constipated and tell them to push like they've been constipated. I have never been constipated. I don't get constipated, and I'm proud about that. So when you're telling me to bear down and push like I'm constipated, wrong muscles, Mariah, and I figured that out, you know, probably 10 minutes after I should have. But I remember looking at this sweet woman and just being like, help me. Like, I need to get her out. And at this point, her head's like in, out. And then I remember, you know, Sarah's telling me I can do it. Dr. Olin sitting there being amazing. And the thing that kind of helped me was understanding that I needed to listen to my body. I don't think any woman needs to birth on her back. So, you know, popped up into a squat. Alex is holding me on one side. Sarah's holding me on the other side, really trying to get her out. And then Dr. Olin put me in an awesome position to be able to birth her in a different way that did not require me to be on my back, but use natural, you know, gravity to kind of get her out. And I remember on the last couple of pushes, I literally had been exhausted. And I remember looking up. I genuinely love this man. He knows how to annoy me, but he knows how to like fire me up, but he also knows how to make me such a better person. It is so incredible. And I look at him and I'm like, help me. I need to get her out, but help me. I don't know why she's not coming. And I'm pushing and I feel like I'm pushing so hard. And he literally was like, all right, I'm waiting. Like, let's go. Let's do this. And it was the competitive athlete in me who was like, are you testing me? Are you challenging me? Okay, I get it. You're pumping me up. I get it. And it was like this momentum that was like building when he was saying this, like, let's go, come on. And then I don't know what song went on, but I think it was Level Up by Sierra. And Dr. Olin's like, I love this playlist. And then everybody's laughing and doing all kinds of stuff. All I remember is just focusing on what Alex said, like, help bring my baby girl into this world. I'm right here. I'm looking at her. Her head is out. I can feel her. I can see her. Let's make this happen. And then she came, and it was the most incredible freaking feeling in the entire world as she and her body comes on top of me, and we did delayed cord clamping, so she got to have all of her cord blood come back to her body and waited until it was done pulsating, and she's just kind of doing her own thing. And I was very adamant about having my golden hour, and that's what you can call it in the hospital. A golden hour is, I don't need to know how much she weighs right away. Guess what? She's healthy. I don't need to know how long she is. I don't need to know how big her head is. I don't need you to wipe her off. I just need her to feel me and do skin to skin, because guess what? Not only was that an experience for me, that was an experience for her. She went from a warm environment, knowing it's safe, to 18 and a half hours of being squeezed and pushed and birthed out of a canal, to then need to know that her mom is here, that her dad is here, and that she is loved and she is safe. And that's something I'm super passionate about. And if that is something that's important to you, I ask you and I empower you to express it while you're there, because I don't need you to slap a baby on a scale. She's okay. So she spent a good hour on my chest, and I was able to soak it in. I was able to just say thank you. I was able to feel overwhelmed and empowered. I was able to see the nurses that stayed 2 hours later cheer me on and be excited. I got to hear stories of women who heard about what I was doing rooms down, and just get my cup filled up with holding our sweet baby girl. And then watching Alex cut the cord, and just that moment, that joy for both of us. Like, it was just such an amazing experience. And then seeing Sarah's face of like, you did it. Sorry, I'm getting so emotional. Of like, you did it. And it was one of those feelings that I think every woman deserves to have. And I'm not passing judgment if you choose to get meds. It's not, you're a badass for having a baby in general. And I want you to know that, whether you had it with an epidural, you had a C-section, you had a natural childbirth, you had a home birth, you had a birth in the tub, whatever the situation is, whatever it looks like for you, it's a miraculous experience. And I am so proud of you and the way that you chose to do it. For me, that feeling of, Mariah, you just did the hardest thing in the world. Something that so many people choose not to do this way. And you did it, and you pushed through, and you survived. And I remember Sarah saying, like in the beginning, you could do anything for a day. You can do anything for a day. And I remember saying it. And then at some point I literally yelled, this is the longest fucking day ever. Excuse my language. Sorry. But I was like, this is the longest day ever. And I remember at the end of it being like, you know what? That was so magical. It was so powerful. And I want to share this story with women who are scared to do natural because they hear these traumatic stories. I want to share it with women who are empowered by, speaking their truth, speaking their voice in a hospital setting, who choose to go to birthing centers because they're fearful that somebody will pass judgment on what their birthing plan is. I promise you, if you go in with the intention of, hey, we are a team, but this is my plan, it goes over. And you have that right, even in a hospital setting. But people scare you out of that because they tell you what trauma could happen in a hospital. Now, if you choose to do a birthing center, that's fine. If you choose to do the hospital, that's fine. Your choices are unlimited. But I empower you with this to know that you are capable, that you are able, that you are strong. I think the most incredible feeling in the world was afterwards knowing that I did it, feeling that I did it, looking at this sweet girl, but then looking at Alex's face like, holy cow, like she did that. And then even afterwards, and that's when I bring up Julianne. Julianne, my really good friend, flew out to spend time with me because we weren't sure if, I was going to have help afterwards. So she flew out, and it's such an amazing experience, her being here. And it was so incredible to like hear the questions that she would ask Alex, like, okay, like, did you look the whole time? Was that something that what were you feeling? Were you nervous? And it was just really cool to hear his responses of like, I was just looking for my baby. And it was really cool to like see her do that. And then he asked like, hey, are you going to try doing it naturally? And she like responded with her response. And it was just one of those things where it's like, women are so strong and they forget that in times. And we all go through things and we all go through life, but we forget the things and the moments that make us strong. So yeah, there are moments that are going to make you weak, moments that you're going to forget how far you've come, moments that you are going to doubt yourself. But then I think about overcoming everything in my life, every milestone in my life, whether that was homelessness, whether that was a divorce, whether that was being sexually assaulted, whether that was, hardship, whether that was poverty, whatever it was. Now I can add to my list of natural childbirth. And I look at all of those things and I say, it won't break me. No matter what it is in my life, it won't break me because it's not the hardest thing I've ever had to do. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And I can do hard things because I was created for hard things and I was meant to overcome hard things. So I share that with you proudly and boldly and unapologetically, that if it wasn't for Sarah and Alex, I don't know if I would be able to have the story that I have today to one day share with her. And I am forever indebted and grateful to the both of them because they were my rocks. So I'm so grateful to both of you and I love you with all of my heart. You have no idea the passion and love and gratefulness and appreciation I have for you two as human beings forever and always. And then I come and I say, as women, you are a freaking badass. Whether you choose to have a child or not, whether you are a mom or you're not, whether you adopted or you didn't, whether you had a C-section, an epidural or not, I am here to tell you, if you are raising a child, helping to raise a child in a child's life, somehow helping in some capacity, you are a badass. Because children are remarkable miracles. And every influence that a child has in their life is so integral and important. And every single person can touch them in such a magical way. So I empower you to know that you are special. And for those of you who are listening, who really wanted to know my story, who really wanted to know my journey, message me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to inspire you. The birthing class that I went through was called Birthing from Within. It was an amazing book that I read, and it was an amazing class that I did. If you are in the area of Arizona, Crystal Porter at the Blossom Birthing Center was the one that did it, and she was incredible. And the women that I met in that class were incredible, and we got to share our stories. I was the only one that delivered at a hospital. The rest of them chose to start at a birthing center. A couple of them did end up in the hospital. But it was such an amazing experience to have with them. And then the best book in the world that I can recommend to any mom is called The Fourth Trimester. And it's reading about how you have to take care of yourself. I tried the whole 5 days in bed, 5 days on bed, 5 days around bed, but there was a lot going on. And I really can't thank Julianne, Sarah, Alex, Tori, my mom, my sisters, my dad. I can't thank them enough for coming over and helping me. My really good friend Wendy and Zulma for coming to my house and taking care of me. Melissa for coming and bringing me food. Like, all of these incredible people in my life just poured over me. And I think it takes a village to bring in a child and raise a child. I really truly believe that. And I am just so grateful. And I'm here to tell you that if you just need support in your decision, if you need encouragement, reach out to me. Because when you are reaching out to women with incredible birth stories that remind you that you can do it, it empowers you to know. So if you are choosing natural, if you are choosing an epidural, if you are choosing C-section, I'm here to let you know, regardless, you are going to have an incredible birthing story because you are choosing to. Change your mindset. Believe that you will have one. Believe that you will be able to experience the most incredible thing in the world, bringing in a beautiful baby boy or baby girl. And I love you guys with all of my heart, and I wanted to share that with you. And I know this is a little bit different from our previous podcast. It's not me talking about motivation or inspiration, but I hope it empowered you to own your story, own your truth, and appreciate all of the incredible things. I have never been one to like labor and delivery. I still don't, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's just a process for sure. But it is an absolute miracle knowing that two people came together to create a human. A human was held for 10 months, and God literally intricately put every piece together, and then you birth them into this life, and you see them, and they're here, and they have 10 fingers, 10 toes, they have 2 lungs, they have a heart, and they're healthy and they're happy. And even if there's a situation where they're not all the way healthy and they need a little bit of assistance, they are still beautiful and they are still all yours. And you, my friend, did that. So I am here to just love on you, to empower you. Reach out to me if you need anything. I hope that my story was able to give you some inspiration into your journey. I want you to know that you can work out the entire time. I worked out up until the day that I gave birth to her. And I am now 4 weeks postpartum and working out now and feel amazing. And I think that her health came truly because I chose to be healthy. So I empower you. I love you. I love on you. And I just thank you for being open to hearing my story. And I empower you to own your own. And just know that you guys are my amazing tribe. And I share real, raw, and unapologetically with my tribe and those I love. So I love you. Until next Tuesday on Your Life